Hare Krishna. Haribol Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Bring, oh, there's a little bit of an echo. Bring, oh, there's a little bit of an echo. Bring,
I think if you have two devices that are
I think
on,
we had a little bit of an echo back and forth. Hopefully you can all hear me now.
if you have two devices on near each other, then it will cause that, I believe.
Hopefully you can all hear me now.
If you have two devices on near each other, then it will cause that, I believe.
Hopefully you can all hear me now.
If you have two devices on near each other, then it will cause that, I believe. If you have two devices on near each other, then it will cause that.
Everyone, can you hear me? Is it audible? Everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Is it audible?
Yes, we need.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Everyone, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we need.
There's an echo in the back though, which might be from another device, as Anupayani was saying.
Yeah, I've tried to do that. We do have a couple of devices. We were trying to figure out a way to allow everyone to have darshan of our beautiful Sri Sri Radha Gopalji. And so we have a couple of different devices set up, but we're going to work out those kinks. In the meantime, hopefully this is a little bit better.
Yeah, actually the echo's gone.
Okay, great. So hopefully we've dealt with that. In any event, as I said, forgive our rough patches here, but we're so delighted that you all could join us for this inaugural celebration of Sri Krishna, the Lord of Sweetness. This is in honor of Sri Krishna Janmashtami, which passed just a few short days ago. And what we'd like to do with this program is really allow this to be an opportunity to delve into the nature of the divine as the Lord of Sweetness. There's a very famous, very beautiful aphorism from one of the oldest texts of Hinduism known, and one really the oldest spiritual texts of the world, known as the Rig Veda, where there's a statement that the absolute truth is one, ekam sat. but Vipra Bahuda Vadanti, that those who are wise, they speak about that one truth in a multitude of ways, in infinite ways. And so one way we can speak about the one divine truth, the one supreme, the one divinity who animates all of us, who is the source of all of us, and who is the divine beloved of all of us. One way that we can speak about him, and one way that the great sacred texts and art of ancient India and even today speak about the one divine, is as the personification of sweetness, the Lord of sweetness, and that is Sri Krishna. And so in that spirit, I want to kick off our program, which is a journey to BRAJ, a journey into the realm of sweetness, with our very first special presentation. We're so honored to have with us a very special guest. I'm happy to introduce my dear friend, Anapayani Devi. Anapayani Devi was born into a family of Krishna devotees. Her mother exposed her to the South Indian classical dance traditions, and particularly to the dance form known as Bharatnatyam at the tender age of 5. And even at that time, it just spoke to her heart. Since then, Anapayani has followed her heart as it has led her to dance for her beloved Lord, Sri Krishna. She studied Bharatnatyam in her childhood at the renowned Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in London, and then in India under the expert guidance of her guru, Srimati Indira Kadambi. Her dance graduation in Bangalore in 1999 received shining reviews. Since then, she has steadily been performing her dance both solo and with her Bhakti dance troupe extensively in North America, and she has also performed in Europe, in India, and in South America. She has over 20 years of teaching experience, as well as she has established the Bhakti Kalyalam Dance Academy in Alachua, Florida. She has studied Odissi and Carnatic music as well under the auspices of Guru Srimati Swati Mahalakshmi. Anapayani lives in Alachua, Florida with her husband and her 2 children, and is a vibrant member of the Bhakti community there. We're so honored to have her. Let's give her a very warm Princeton University welcome. And I'm going to turn it over to Anapayani to bring us into the realm of sweetness and to introduce us to her beloved Lord, the Lord of sweetness.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be here. There's a great saint, Vallabhacharya, who has written 8 beautiful stanzas, a song, describing how sweet Krishna is. There is a beautiful analogy of how, you probably heard it, to seek the nectar, to seek the goodness, seek the light. And that is like the honey, the bee seeking the honey in the flowers. So the Sanskrit word for sweet is madhu, which is also the word for honey. So madhurastakam means 8 verses of sweetness describing Krishna. It is a beautiful meditation. There's nothing, there's no deep philosophy involved. It is just a meditation on all the aspects and qualification, the qualities of Krishna, all his attributes, and describing each one and saying that they are sweet and that we must relish them, because when we acknowledge these sweet qualities of Krishna, then we are attracted, just like the bee is attracted to the honey. So in this song, we are meditating on the honey, the sweetness of Krishna. And that is a unique aspect of our dear Krishna, because Krishna means all attractive because of his incredible sweetness. This music I will be dancing to is by Dr. Shobhana Vignesh. And I will be depicting the meaning of the entire Madhurastakam. And it is very easy to follow along. I'm just going to demonstrate 2 verses just so that you can see what it's like. And I'd also wanted to invite you, if you would like to follow along with me, the mudras. Sometimes when we hear a song, it sounds very sweet. And then when we say the same song, it sounds even sweeter. And then when we dance to it, there's another level of sweetness. So adding that visceral aspect, the physical movement to the meaning of the song perhaps may deepen your meditation on the Lord of Sweetness. The chorus of this song is that Krishna, the flute player, is the Lord, the Emperor of Sweetness, and there is no one who compares. So if you would like, just follow along with your mudras. I'm just going to do the first two verses. Adhuram madhuram, his lips are sweet. Vadanam madhuram, his face is sweet. His eyes are sweet, and his laughter is sweet. His heart is sweet, and his gait is sweet, the way he walks. His speech is sweet. His character is sweet. His dress is sweet, and his belly folds are sweet. His movements are sweet, and his turning is sweet. As he goes around the forest of BRAJ, that is sweet. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the Emperor, the Lord of Sweetness. The honey coming from the flower. There is no one else who matches your sweetness. Madhurastakam. Give me a moment, I'll put on the music.
Adharam madhuram vadanam madhuram nayanam madhuram hasitam madhuram hridayam Adharam madhuram vadanam madhuram nayanam madhuram hasitam madhuram adharam madhuram vadanam madhuram nayanam madhuram hasitam madhuram hridayam madhuram gamanam madhuram madhuradhipate rakiram madhuram vachanam madhuram charitam madhuram vasanam madhuram vadutam madhuram vachanam madhuram charitam madhuram vasanam madhuram vadutam madhuram chalitam madhuram gamutam madhuram madhuradhipate rakiram madhuram venu madhuru renu madhurah panir madhurah padam madhuram venu madhuru renu madhurah panir madhurah padam मधुरं गीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुखं मधुरं गीतं मधुरं गीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुखं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम् करणं मधुरं करणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं करणं मधुरं करणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं गुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीची मधुरा गुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीची मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं घृतं मधुरं गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं घृतं मधुरं कृष्णं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा ललितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
Thank you so much for that beautiful presentation, that offering of love, of devotion, and of sweetness. As we saw in that beautiful dance depiction, everything about Sri Krishna is sweet. His sweetness knows no limits. It is without beginning, it is without end. And there's a simplicity to that sweetness. And yet, when we open our hearts to a place like BRAJ or Vrindavan, we notice, or we are able to experience, that the simplicity of sweetness is built on the foundation of a very deep, very a philosophy, a theology that is so rich, that is so deep. And in that spirit, we're so honored to have with us for the very first time at Princeton University Hindu Life program, one of the most preeminent scholars of Krishna, of the Krishna Bhakti tradition, and of Hinduism writ large. We are so honored to be hosting, all the way from Vrindavan, India, Dr. Satyanarayan Das Babaji. Dr. Satyanarayan Das, or Babaji as he's often referred to, is a Sanskrit scholar, a master, and a professor. He holds 5 postgraduate degrees, ranging from a doctorate degree, a master's degree in Sanskrit, a law degree, a master's and undergraduate degree in engineering from the prestigious IIT Delhi, among other accomplishments and forms of learning. He is the author of 15 books related to Indian culture and philosophy, some of which have been translated into multiple languages. Babaji is the founder of the Jiva Institute of Vedic Studies, which aims to promote Vedic culture, philosophy, and Ayurveda through education, through experiential learning. And he regularly teaches classes on Hindu philosophy, on the Sanskrit language, on the sacred texts, and on the ancient Indian sciences for a range of scholars, Indian and international. He has initiated a program for preservation, translation, and publication of ancient Indian works of science and wisdom. And Babaji serves as a visiting professor at our very own Rutgers University here in the state of New Jersey. He lives in Vrindavan, India, and is among the most highly regarded and respected teachers and scholars in BRAJ. In 2013, he was honored by the President of India, Pranab Mukherjee, for his extraordinary contribution to presenting Vedic culture and philosophy to students and audiences within India and globally. We're so honored to have Babaji with us. Please join me in giving him a very warm Princeton University welcome.
Jai Sri Krishna, Jai Sri Radhe. So before I begin, I recite a prayer. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyastavair Vedai Sangha Padakramopanishadair Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyana Vastita Tadgaten Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yashyantam Na Vidusura Surguna Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So I'm honored to speak to students of Princeton University. Krishna is one of the most important personalities which have influenced Indian culture. Even if you do not accept him as God, even as a person, he is all aspects of Indian life, whether it is philosophy, theology, religion, yoga, social life, arts, music, painting, temples, architecture, dance, as you just now saw, anything. There is no aspect of life in India which is not influenced by Krishna. He was born about 5,246 years ago. There is sometimes difference of opinion. Some say 48, some say 46, but around 3,226 BC, on 17th of June at midnight, here in Mathura, which is about 10 kilometers from the place where I live, in a prison house of Kamsa. Word Krishna has 2 primary meanings. Krishna means black, and there is a statement to that effect in Bhagavad Purana itself that Krishna had 3 other forms before. Sukla Raktas Tatha Pita Idanim Krishna Tamgata. That he has taken other forms as white, reddish, yellowish, but now at present he has taken blackish appearance. So the word Krishna means black, and black is beautiful. I know at present there is a big movement in America that Black Life Matters. For us, the most important person is Krishna, which means black. And black, the other meaning of the word Krishna is beautiful or who is very attractive. So Krishna has another name also, which is called Shyam Sundara, which has both the meanings in it. Shyama Sundara means one who is Shyama or black, and Sundara means one who is beautiful. So Krishna means who is blackish in color and who is most beautiful, most attractive. It also means, when we see it from etymological point of view, that Krishna's bhu vachiko shabda nasya nivritti vachka tayorakyam param brahma Krishna iti abhidhiyate. The word name Krishna is made from two syllables, Krish and Na. So the word Krish signifies existence, means he is the existence of all existences. He is the basis of all existences. He is the source. As he says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava. I am the source of everything. And Na means Ananda, pleasure, happiness, love. And the combination of these two signifies the supreme reality. Because if there is supreme reality, that reality must be the basis of all existence, and that reality must be attractive. So that's what the word Krishna means, according to Sanskrit etymological principles. So Krishna, therefore, is not some Hindu god, as many people think that he is an Hindu god. He is God, and if God has to have a name, I think Krishna is the most appropriate name for God. Because anybody who is God, he must be the source of existence. He must be beautiful. He must be attractive. He must have love. And that's what the word Krishna signifies. So he came, and although many people think that it's just a myth, but there are many proofs of Krishna's existence. There are historical records. The Greek historians, when Alexander came to India in 326 BC, they wrote about Krishna, and it can be read in their records. There are also some monuments which were built by one of the followers of Alexander here in India, in state of Madhya Pradesh. It still exists, and on that it is written very clearly that I am a follower of Krishna, and his name was Herodotus. He was a Greek person, but he was very much influenced by Krishna. We also know Krishna's story in Mahabharata, and Mahabharata has been dated at least 4th century BC or even before that, but at least around that time. We have Panini Sutras of grammar, Sanskrit grammar, and he does make mention of Krishna in that. And Panini's grammar is also at least 3rd or 4th century BC, if not before that. Krishna is also found in the historical books written about Buddha, in the Jataka stories, where Buddha speaks about his past 100 lives. He remembered his 100 lives. So Buddha is supposed to be also around 5th or 6th century BC. So at least Krishna is before that, because he was already worshipable. When we read Panini's Sutra, he is mentioned as worshipable. Arjuna's name is mentioned. Vasudeva is mentioned. When we read Mahabharata, of course, Krishna is there. We know one of the greatest contribution of Krishna is Bhagavad Gita, which is part of Mahabharata. So certainly he did exist. I live here in BRAJ, which is the name for this whole area, which is about 84 square miles where Krishna lived. And there are certain places in this area, certain hills, that where Krishna stood when he was tending cows. Here he played his flute and the stones melted. And if you can go and witness that his footprints are there on those stones. Certainly nobody has carved them there, and they are in many places. There are also footprints of cows, because when he played the flute, the cows came running to him and the stones melted. So Krishna is also called God of love, because he taught the message of love. He lived for 125 years on earth, about 125 years, 6 months. And out of that, he lived here in Braj only for 11 years. Very interestingly, just for 11 years, he was here. And then he spent about 20 years in Mathura. And after that, he moved to Dwarka, which was a city he built inside the Arabian Sea. And about 30 years ago, Indian Archaeological Survey Department, they actually discovered some of the remnants of the city. You can go on YouTube and Google it, you can watch it. They have found many artifacts buried inside the sea, and they have carbon dated it, and it matches about the history which is found in Mahabharata and other scriptures such as Bhagavad Purana. So Krishna, he spent a lot of time in Dwarka, not so much in Braj. But if you see most of the songs about Krishna, most of the paintings about Krishna, most of his life history, it is about the first 11 years and not so much about what he did in Dwarka. So why is that? What is the reason for that? The reason is that Braj is the place where he manifested his most sweet and lovely pastimes. He was born in prison, but right after birth, he was taken to Gokul on the other side of Yamuna. Mathura is on the west side of Yamuna and Gokul is east side. He told his father, because his birth was not ordinary birth, he appeared to them and says, you take me there. And he lived there as son of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. So Krishna is more popular as Yashoda Nandana, or son of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. And by this, he showed that the real relationship is not the relationship of blood, but relationship of love. In this world, we have various types of relationships. You may have relationship because of education. Somebody is your teacher, you have a relationship, like you're all students of Princeton University. So you have some relationship with your fellow students, with your teachers. Relationship may be because of work, you work somewhere, so you have co-employees, you have your boss, or you may be the boss. And relationship is by blood, you're born to certain family. But the most important relationship is the relationship of love. All other relationships can pass in time and you can give them up. But the relationship which you want to hold on to is the relationship of love. And this is the first education Krishna gave immediately right after his birth. He was born to Vasudeva and Devaki at midnight. And at midnight itself, he told Vasudeva, carry me to Gokul. And then he became the son of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj to show that they are my parents because they have the pure love, the purest love which a parent can have for the child was depicted by Yashoda and Nanda Baba, his father. Not so much by Vasudeva and Devaki. Later on, he came and he lived with Vasudeva and Devaki for the rest of his life after first 11 years. But the pastimes, the Leela, the activities which he performed with Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj here in Braj, that is most celebrated. The song which you heard, that Madhura, that sweetness, this was depicted here. And therefore he is called Madhurapati. Madhurapatir Akhilam Madhuram. Everything about him was sweetness, because what is sweetness? Sweetness is love. If love is not there, then there is no sweetness. You can have wealth, you can have power, you can even have beauty, but if love is not there, then no one cares for that beauty also. No one cares for wealth. Many times you see rich families, they separate, there is a breakup. The person may be beautiful, maybe very wealthy, and still there is a separation, a breakup. Why? Because love is not there. But if love is there, then that's what holds the relationship. So this is one of the topmost message which Krishna gave here in Vrindavan. He had friends, boyfriends, girlfriends, parents. He loved everybody. Even the cows loved him, the trees and plants. And as I said, even the stone melted by his love. And this is not just some allegorical statement, but there's a proof, as I said, that you can still come and visit these places where you can see his footprint. And these are not some man-made things. These are his footprints. So that's what is needed in this material world. The solution to all problems of this world lies in what Krishna taught, and that is love. Whether it is a political problem, it is a social problem, it is an economical problem, it is problem of relation, it all boils down to lack of love. All problems, they originate only from lack of love. So therefore, Krishna, he taught that message. This path of bhakti is ultimately, although we call it as path of devotion, but it is the path of love. There is karma yoga, there is jnana yoga, there is bhakti yoga. But the supreme yoga, which Krishna teaches in Bhagavad Gita, is the path of bhakti yoga. Yogi nam api sarvesham madgate nantaratmana shraddhavan bhaste mam sachame yukta tamamata. He says that of all types of yogis, karma yogi, jnana yogi, dhyana yogi, ashtanga yogi, raj yogi, who is the best yogi? He says the best of the yogis who is devoted to me in love. Shraddhavan bhaste mam sacha yuktatama. Yuktatama means he is the best, he is the supreme. So yoga, as you know, generally people translate as union, and union is possible only in love. So his love for his gopis, his love for his gopas, his cowherd boys, his cowherd girls, this was not based on some carnal desire as sometimes people depict it like that. But this was pure love, where there was no intention of exploiting or enjoying the other person, but only loving. The basic characteristic of love is that you want to please the object of your love. And that's what Krishna did. He did not demand anything from anybody, but he was serving everyone. So this confidence, the sense of security, communication, all these problems which people have in their relationship, why it is there? Because love is missing. If love is there, then there is security, there is confidence, there is obedience, there is surrender, there is humility. All good qualities become manifest. When you love somebody, you are not arrogant to that person. If you love somebody, you don't cheat that person. If you love somebody, you open your heart to that person. If you love somebody, you want to do best thing to that person. So if that love can come to this humanity, then you can imagine that this world itself will become the spiritual world. Spiritual world is not somewhere else. Krishna showed that here it is on this very earth. So this is the importance of Vraja, and people come here from all over the world to study this message of Krishna, to learn and to practice and to put it in their own life. Krishna is not some mythical person. He is a real person. Throughout the history, great personalities, great sadhus, devotees have had experience of Krishna directly, face to face. There are 5,000 Krishna temples in this area, and every temple has got some story behind it. If you go and you study, you will see some story related with the deity of Krishna, how that particular deity appeared to the person who was worshipping that, had actually a direct relationship. So people who do not believe in the form of God or who do not believe in God, they think that this deity is just a statue. It is not a statue, it is Krishna himself. And if you have love, then he actually reciprocates with you. So many stories you can hear. I will not go into those details of the stories, but what I'm saying is that God is not some millions of miles away. He is not something beyond the clouds. God is present here, and wherever there is love, that's where he is. Yatra gayanti mad bhakta tatra tishtami narada. Krishna says that wherever my devotees are singing about me, wherever singing means out of joy, out of love, I am present there. So our life, what we are looking for love. We are looking for relation. Without love and relationship, you can have anything. You can have all the best amenities. You are not satisfied. It is not fulfilling to the heart. We know that the standard of life at present now and the place where you are in America is much higher than it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago. The facilities which you have now, the food which you can afford, the transport, the communication, and other amenities, they did not exist in the past. Even the great kings and emperors could not afford such things. But if you see, the satisfaction in life is still missing. Why? Because the relations are missing. Now we have big houses, but families are small. And even those small families may not have very loving relationship. So unless that loving relationship comes, we cannot feel satisfied. And if we are not satisfied, then what is the value of everything else? You can have knowledge, you can become doctor, you can have PhD, you can have wealth, you can have power, but you will not have satisfaction. And when we do not have that satisfaction, then we try to compensate with other things. We go for drugs, we go for liquor, we go for sex, we go for so many. We try and buy things or we eat food. Sometimes when people break up, then they start overeating because food is also related with love. When you are a child, you're breastfed by the mother, and that is milk coming out of love. So a child equates eating to love. And when the love is not there, then you try to fulfill it with food or try to amass things and you think this will fulfill me. So this feeling of emptiness cannot be filled by anything material, including the food, but only by love. And in every relationship, what we are searching is for love. Whenever we have loving relationship with somebody, that person appears very divine to us. That person appears extraordinary to us. Otherwise, we don't love that person. If you talk to any girl or any boy about their boyfriend or girlfriend and what do you think of your boyfriend or girlfriend, they will say, oh, he's very wonderful, he's extraordinary. Other people may not see. They may say that, what is so special about this person that you are so much in love or you're crazy after this person? No, that is love. And they are seeing something special which others cannot see. So really speaking, we are also in love with divinity, that beauty. We become attracted to beauty, power, wealth, knowledge. And these are the characteristics of Krishna. One word for God is Bhagwan in Sanskrit. And Bhagwan is defined that person who is most beautiful, most powerful, most knowledgeable, rich, and intelligent. All these great characteristics, beauty. So these are the characteristics which Krishna depicted in one person. He was beautiful, as I said, everybody loved him. He was also physically very powerful, although he did not look like some Mr. Universe or anything like that. He did not have a muscular body. You don't see Krishna's painting being some huge muscular fellow. But he lifted Govardhan Hill on one finger. He killed so many big people. He was called by his uncle to have wrestling match. and he killed them. He was physically powerful. He was also the apex of knowledge. He spoke Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield of Kurukshetra to his friend Arjuna at the age of 89 years. He was 89 at that time, not some young professor. And that Bhagavad Gita, which was spoken basically to remove the confusion of Arjuna so that he can perform his duty. It was not some sermon given on the mount. It was not some lecture given in a classroom, but on a chariot. You might have seen painting of Krishna and Arjuna on the chariot. And that has become one of the most philosophical, most read book of philosophy. Great people, great scientists, great philosophers, religionists, they all read Bhagavad Gita. It is the most read book. It has been translated into all the major languages of the world. So that shows how knowledgeable he was. Although he went to school when he was 11 years old. When he was here in BRAJ, he didn't go to school. He was just tending cows. He was a cowherd boy, Gopala, and just playing with his friends and girls, the cowherd girls. Only when he went to Mathura at the age of 11, he studied, he went to school, and school he went like 4.5 months only. That's all. So that, of course, that is his just Leela. He just wanted to show, really speaking, he does not need all that. He is Bhagwan, he is supreme. Then he was being troubled by the father-in-law of Kamsa, whom he killed, because this Kamsa was a terror. And one thing Krishna hated was terrorists. He uprooted all types of terrorists in this area. That is the one thing he did right from his birth. That is one of his contributions to remove terrorism. But when he was in Mathura, then the father-in-law of Kamsa kept on attacking him. 17 times he brought with his army from Magad, which is now central Bihar, northeastern state of India. So this was too much troublesome. Krishna defeated the army, he will come back. He will defeat, he will come back. So Krishna thought that this is troublesome for all my people. So what he did, that he went far away from here. He went inside the sea, Arabian Sea, west side of India, and he made a whole city called Dwarka. Just like you have Venice in Italy. Like that he built, and there he stayed for almost 100 years. He was around 28 when he went there. So he remained there very peacefully. So that showed that how renounced he was. And then when he was leaving, he actually demolished everything. He predicted that after 1 week, this whole city will be drowned. And all his family members, they were already killed in front of him. So he was also detached. He was knowledgeable, he was powerful, and he was beautiful. Even at the age of 126 years or 125 plus years, he was not looking old. At that time also he spoke a very wonderful knowledge to his cousin and friend Uddhava. So he had basically 2 students. One was his friend Arjuna, another was his cousin, whose name was Uddhava. And these teachings are much higher than what is in Bhagavad Gita. That teaching is called Uddhava Gita. So people are generally familiar with Bhagavad Gita, very popular, but not many people are aware of Krishna's other teaching, where he gave the message just before he left this planet. And that is most wonderful knowledge available, I would say, in any religion. So there are about 25 chapters which he speaks. It is little more than Bhagavad Gita, but much more details are given there. So this is about Krishna, about Braj, about sweetness. And I would ask you students, please take a look at Bhagavad Gita, take some lessons, because you may study whatever you're studying in your university, that is good, and that will give you job, sustenance for your life. But life is not only that. The real life is outside the job, where you have to deal with people, you have to live with family, you have to be part of the society. And that knowledge is not available in the campus. That knowledge is available in the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Very important part. Then only our education becomes complete. In the Upanishads, it is said that there is two types of knowledge. Dve vidya veditavye para apareti cha. That one should study two types of knowledge, two types of education one should have. One is called the spiritual knowledge, other is called material knowledge. So material knowledge is useful for us to function here in the society, to sustain ourselves. But we are not just the physical body. Beyond that, we have our emotional needs. And emotional needs cannot be fulfilled by something which is meant only for the body. So for that, one has to have paravidya, or this transcendental knowledge which Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita. We have to understand our own self, who we are and how do we relate. We have to make relations with others, but to make relationship, there are two people involved, you yourself and another person. So just as we try to know the other person when we make a relationship, we also have to know ourselves. And that's what we do not do. We don't know ourselves, and if we know ourselves, it is mostly the opinion of others, what others say about me. And we are very much concerned about that, what others people think about me. But most important thing is what you are without others' opinion, without others saying anything about you. What do you think of yourself? What do you consider yourself? Because you are going to relate with another person on the basis of that and not what others think of you. So otherwise, I say that every human being has got three personalities. One is what you actually are. Second is what you pose to others, because mostly we put ourselves in a different light than what we are. And third is what others think of you. So this is how we function in the society, but most important is what you are, because ultimately it is you with you only. When you come back and you are in your room or you are in the bathroom, there is no one looking at you. It is you naked yourself. And that is the person who is relating with everybody. Even if you pose yourself as something else, still you are what you are. So this is what Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita. This is his first lesson, trying to understand yourself. And when you understand yourself, you will feel fulfilled. You will actually have some relationship with this divinity, with this Krishna who came to give this knowledge to us. So that's what I will request all of you, exhort all of you to spend a little bit of time. Everybody likes to explore something. People go on exploration. They want to have some new experience. So put some time to it. Maybe something good will come out of that. And with that message, I will end. And I thank all of you for being patient and listening to me. And I want to thank Sri Vineet Chandraji for inviting me to speak. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you so much, Babaji, for that wonderful presentation, really taking us into the heart of BRAJ, to the heart of Krishna, if I may, and also giving us such practical takeaways, such practical lessons for how, sometimes we think Krishna's appearance was something that happened in the past. And I think in your talk, you so beautifully brought out that if we choose to, as you say, explore that Krishna's appearance can be something very active, that Krishna is a living deity that is just waiting for us to interact with him. So thank you so much for sharing that message and inspiring us in that way. One of the things that Babaji mentioned that I thought was so powerful was this idea, this beautiful verse that Krishna speaks, that he says, when my devotees gather and sing my name, sing my praise, when they sing in love for me, then I am there. And so I think that's an appropriate appropriate introduction to the next part of our festivities, which I'm so excited about. My very dear friend and spiritual sister, Rupa Manjari Devi, is with us. Rupa Manjari was born into a family of Vaishnav Krishna Bhaktas, Krishna devotees, who are now based in and serve in Mumbai, India. But when she was very young, she had the fortune of living in various holy places, including Vrindavan, where Babaji is joining us from, but also Rishikesh and Kurukshetra, the holy place where Sri Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And she spent her formative first few years as a child growing up in these places, deeply imbibing the mood of the residents of these places, of the holy people, the holy teachings of these various dhams, these holy places. This was also where she began to develop her interest in and her passion for sacred music. She started learning music formally at the age of only 4 and has been learning ever since. She has completed her Sangeet Visharad diploma and has also studied violin for a number of years. Rupa Manjari earned her master's in Sanskrit and teacher training at the University of Mumbai. In addition to her academic training, she has also had the good fortune of studying under some of the most renowned saints in Vrindavan and in Barsana. Currently, she teaches classical music, Sanskrit, and violin in Mumbai. Her creativity and expertise also extend beyond music into other art forms, including the culinary arts. So when she's not teaching or practicing music, she also runs an acclaimed side business, a hobby business, as she puts it, of custom-made designer vegetarian and vegan cakes throughout the Mumbai area and beyond. We're so delighted to have her with us. She will lead us in some very beautiful meditative BRAJ-style bhajans. So with that, it's my honor, my privilege, and my pleasure to turn it over to Rupa Manjari Devi.
I feel really honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And this is a really beautiful festival that is happening virtually, thanks to this pandemic. But still, the spirit of the festival does not need to, we don't need to lose that. So it's such a beautiful way of celebrating a festival, even though we can't be together. And even though we are placed in different parts of the world. So as Babaji Maharaj was explaining in his little talk, that Lord Krishna is he's called as the Emperor of Sweetness, and he's the Lord of Sweetness. There's no one sweeter than him. So if you could imagine that if ordinary mortal babies were cute, then imagine the Lord of the universe. If he was a baby, how beautiful and how attractive and how cute he must be. So it is said that in the spiritual world, there's no birth and there's no death. So the Lord is not a newborn baby there. So just to give his devotees an experience of what he would be as a newborn baby and what he would look like, and how normal babies speak their first words and take their first steps, and all that is so attractive. So to give his devotees, who are especially his parents, Maharaj Nanda and Mother Yashoda, an experience of what that would be like if the Lord became a newborn baby and a toddler, how beautiful he would be and how attractive he would be. He takes birth in this world. Not really birth, he appears in this world as a newborn baby and then performs all these pastimes of having to be a baby, and then he grows up, and then he takes his first steps, and then he speaks his first words. So giving joy to all his devotees. So there is a little beautiful song about Sri Krishna, baby Krishna taking his first steps. And there's a little description in it that describes how beautiful he is, how beautiful he looks when he's taking his first steps. Nanda Maharaj is calling him towards him. Mother Yashoda is standing behind him to support him. And when he's walking with his shaky little legs, his whole body and his tiny little ornaments are dazzling. And everyone, including the demigods and the demons, are watching and feeling affection for him. So that's one quality of Krishna, that he draws out affection from even the demons. So the demons were people who were envious of him. but even they used to, like, they saw him and they would feel affection for him first before they felt like attacking him. And the poet is saying that just to see the beauty of the vision of this, of Lord Krishna taking his first steps, even if you were to give the wealth of all the three worlds, it would not be enough to have the beautiful vision of these personalities and Sri Krishna taking his first steps. And it is said that he has his friends, he has little friends who play with him, and there's no one in this entire world who would give up a position that he has. He's the lord of the entire creation, and he as Lord Vishnu, he lies on the ocean of milk with Lakshmi Devi massaging his feet. And in spite of all that, there's no other person in this entire creation who can give up all of that just to take a little butter and milk from the milkmaids of Raja, of the cowherd girls of Rajabhumi. Just they are so, he's so bound by their love that he's willing to dance and sing for them as a little baby, and say, as when there are small babies, we ask them to say these words and say, oh, say this and now say that, and then they say it in their little, these broken words, and we all find it so attractive. So if Sri Krishna were to say his first words, and that gave so much pleasure to the gopis and the gopas and the residents of Vrindavan, that they would keep making him do it. And just to increase the love and the loving relationships between his devotees, he would do it. And then they would reward him with little butter, because he would love butter. So they would reward him with butter and milk. And he gave up the position of being the lord of the creation just to accept the gopis' love. So that is what is described in this little song. नंद भवन नंद लाल, ठुमक चलन लागे। नंद भवन नंद लाल, ठुमक चलन लागे। पीछे माँ यशोमती, बाबा नंद आगे। लाल चलन लागे, लाल चलन लागे। ठुमक चलन लागे, लाल चलन लागे। लघु लघु पग डग मग डग, शिख नख छवि जग मग जग। लघु लघु पग डग मग डग, शिख नख छवि जग मग जग। किंकिणी धुन सुन सुन कर, किंकिणी धुन सुन सुन कर। भूमि भाग जागे, किंकिणी धुन सुन सुन कर। भूमि भाग जागे, लाल चलन लागे, लाल चलन लागे। ठुमक ठुमक चलन लागे, लाल चलन लागे। He's saying that when Krishna walks, the sweet sound of his ankle bells, when the earth hears the sweet sound of his ankle bells, she feels herself fortunate. आंगन की शोभा पर तीन लोक न्योछावर आंगन की शोभा पर, तीन लोक न्योछावर देवासुर देख देख, देवासुर देख देख, अनुरागे रागे, देवासुर देख देख, अनुरागे रागे, लाल चलन लागे, लाल चलन लागे, ठुमक ठुमक चलन लागे, लाल चलन लागे। अष्ट सखी अष्ट सखा, सिर पर है मोर पखा, अष्ट सखी अष्ट सखा, सिर पर है मोर पखा, दधि के हित और कौन, दधि के हित और कौन, क्षीर सिंधु त्यागे, दधि के हित और कौन, क्षीर सिंधु त्यागे, लाल चलन लागे, लाल चलन लागे, ठुमक ठुमक चलन लागे, लाल चलन लागे। The next bhajan I will be presenting is by the great saint whose name was Surdas. He lived in Braj. He was blind by birth, but he composed many sweet bhajans describing the sweet pastimes of little Krishna and also Radharani. So one of the bhajans he's composed is called Hey Govind, Hey Gopal, which describes the pastime of Sri Krishna delivering the king of the elephants, Gajendra. So it is said that Gajendra was such a mighty elephant. He was a celestial elephant, and one time he went to the lake to drink water with his family, and suddenly, while he was inside the lake, a crocodile caught his leg, and he kept pulling him inside, and he just could not do anything about it. And they fought for a very long time, and still Gajendra could not free himself. And in that desperate moment, he suddenly remembered that the Lord is there to protect if we call out to him. So in that desperate moment, he picked up a lotus flower from that lake and he offered it to the Lord. And as soon as he did that, immediately the Lord left everything that he was doing and he came there on Garuda and he chopped off the head of that crocodile and saved Gajendra. So this bhajan is a prayer to the Lord that please deliver even us from the clutches of this material world. हे गोविंद हे गोपाल हे गोविंद राखो शरण अब तो जीवन हारे अब तो जीवन हार हे गोविंद हे गोपाल हे गोविंद हे गोपाल। नीर पीवन है तो गयो, नीर पीवन हे तो गयो, सिंधु के किनारे। नीर पीवन हे तो गयो, सिंधु के किनारे। सिंधु बीच बसत ग्राह, सिंधु बीच बसत ग्राह, चरण धरी पछाड़े हे गोविंद हे गोपाल हे गोविंद राखो शरण। चार प्रहर योध भयो, ले गयो मझधारे। चार प्रहर युद्ध भयो, ले गयो मझधारे। नाक कान डूबन लागे, नाक कान डूबन लागे, कृष्ण को पुकारे। द्वारका में शब्द गयो, द्वारका में शब्द गयो, शोर भयो भारी, शोर भयो भारी। शंख चक्र गदा पद्म, शंख चक्र गदा पद्म, गरुड़ ले सिधाए, गरुड़ ले सिधाए। सूर कहे श्याम सुनो, सूर कहे श्याम सुनो, शरण है तिहारी, शरण है तिहारी। अब की बेर पार करो, अब की बेर पार करो, नंद के दुलारे हे गोविंद हे गोपाल हे गोविंद राखो शरण। अब तो जीवन हारे, अब तो जीवन हारे हे गोविंद हे गोपाल हे गोविंद हे गोपाल। Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rupa Manjari. That was so beautiful. Just took us right to Krishna's sweetness, Krishna's innocence, but also Krishna's care and compassion for us. So what a wonderful meditation. In some ways, in thinking about this festival as a journey to BRAJ, it's not just a journey to the physical location. Of course, because of the pandemic, we're not able to actually travel to the physical location of BRAJ right now. But it's really a journey to a certain state of mind, a certain state of consciousness, and ultimately a certain state of heart. And I think your bhajans really brought us there and continue to bring us there. So we're so grateful. What I'd like to do as we just bring our program to a close is I would like to invite everyone just to take a moment wherever you are, and you don't need to turn your cameras on if you don't feel comfortable or if you'd rather not, but just wherever you are to just take a moment to be even more comfortable in your seat, even more grounded and present. Perhaps there are distractions around, or maybe you weren't able to be here for the whole program, so you were in and out, and that's natural and that's fine. But let's just take a moment to recommit to being present here, to being grateful for this beautiful, sacred opportunity that we have for being present to this appearance of sweetness in our own lives, whatever that may mean for us, whatever our spiritual path may be, or wherever we may be in our own spiritual path. To just take a moment to reflect on the Lord of sweetness appearing in our lives, in our hearts. And perhaps if we feel comfortable, taking this time to make that intention, to opening our hearts to that sweetness, to opening our hearts to that innocence, to opening our hearts to that kindness and compassion, to opening our hearts to what Babaji spoke of so beautifully in his talk, what Anapayani depicted so beautifully in her dance, and what Rupa Manjari shared with us so beautifully through this song and poetry, opening our hearts to love and allowing that love to sustain us, to nourish us, and to empower us to be instruments of that love. And so with that in mind, that as a final meditation, we want to bring our program to a close by offering a symbolic representation of our love, of our intention in this ceremony known as Arati. So we will offer, I think Anapayani is with us. She's juggling her seva to the Lord of Sweetness with her seva to her children, which are the embodiment of sweetness for her and the representatives of Krishna in her life. So I'm very happy that she could join us, and I think she's back with us as well. So Anapayani will offer Arati to her deities at home. We will also offer Arati to Sri Sri Radha Gopalji, who are with us in our makeshift version of Vrindavan Grove, or Vrindavan Meadow, Vrindavan Forest here in Princeton, New Jersey. And we just invite you to take this time to join us in this spirit of, even if you're not able to offer Arati yourself with the various articles, if you feel inspired to offer your hearts, offer your prayers, offer your meditation, offer yourselves in this beautiful conclusion to our celebration of the Lord of Sweetness. Again, thank you all for joining us in this celebration sponsored by the Office of Religious Life, Hindu Life program at Princeton University. We're so glad that you could be with us, and we invite you to continue to join with us in this virtual community of love, of bhakti, of seva. So I want to invite Rupa Manjari again. We're going to mute, if everyone can just make sure you're muted out. And Rupa Manjari, if you can stay unmuted, and if you can lead us in one final bhajan, one final kirtan, as we offer Arati to our beloved Lord. Thank you so much.
We'll sing a very simple arti. Some of you may already know the words. For those of you who don't, they are Sri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, Sri Krishna Govinda, Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. If you would like, you can participate and sing along. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय श्री कृष्ण जन्माष्टमी महोत्सव की जय।
Jai Shri Krishna, Radhe Radhe. Thank you all so much for joining us in our very first celebration of the Lord of Sweetness, the Lord of Love, Sri Krishna, of the sacred realm of BRAJ, where love is the foundation, love is in the atmosphere, love is all of existence and everything that sustains us. And this celebration of community, a community rooted in love, a community aiming towards love, a community that, although we may be physically distanced from one another, is bound together in the spirit of love. On behalf of Princeton University, on behalf of the Office of Religious Life, and on behalf of the Hindu Life Program, we're so grateful to our special guests, Anapayani Devi, Rupamanjari Devi, and Dr. Satyanarayan Das Babaji, for joining us, and we're so grateful to all of you for joining us. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Have a wonderful virtual celebration of Sri Krishna Janmashtami, and we hope to connect with you very soon. Jai Shri Krishna.